We're going to go ahead and get started with our post-race driver media availabilities for the 27th annual Renai 250, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. We're joined by our second place finisher, driver of the number 22 Discount Tire Ford, Joey Logano, and our third place finisher, driver of the number 20 Root Toyota, Christopher Bell. Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Joey. I just heard you say on TV the race winner was fast all the way around Atlanta today. Is there something you can pick up a little bit that's going to help you tomorrow?
You would think after finishing second so many times I'd pick something up to be better and catch up to him, but it doesn't seem to happen yet. We keep our heads down and keep working hard, but can't really figure out why Kevin's so good here. It doesn't seem to matter what car he's in or anything like that. He's just good. Something that lines up with his feel and his style. It just works out really well for him. So, yeah, I mean, Christopher and I had a good race. Wish it was for the win, but it was fun for a little bit. But, just a decent run for Discount Tire Ford. I think someone just told me I was 3 consecutive seconds here. So, and I think they're all to Kevin. I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, that stinks. But outside of that, just like I said, a decent day. Everyone executed well. Pit stops went really well. You were able to keep ourselves towards the front all day. Just didn't have enough speed to keep up.
Christopher, Joey just mentioned that the race between you two guys there at the end, that got a little bit exciting, maybe a little bit more than you anticipated. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I didn't really want him to get by me there at the end, but I don't know, those last 2 green flag runs, I really struggled the last 5-8 laps before we pitted for tires, and our Rude Camry was, it was good. It just wasn't good enough to keep up with the 98, and then I felt like me and Joey were, pretty equal at times. I'd be better at times, he'd be better, and it was just a matter of who was going to, do the right thing in traffic there, and I just struggled there at the end too bad.
We'll go ahead and open it up to questions for our second and third place finishers. If you raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. We'll start with Aaron, then go to Bob.
Caleb Whistler kicking the tires on that. Christopher, how important was it for you to come to that Xfinity test here in January for this race?
Well, it's huge. This place is extremely hard to get around, and between all my different teams that I've driven for at Kyle Busch Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing, I've been able to test here twice. I've done 2 truck races and now an Xfinity race. So out of the NASCAR tracks, this is probably where I have the most laps at, and it definitely helped me today. So it's a ton of fun. Just thank you to Atlanta for not repaving this place, and hopefully we can squeak another year out of it. This is just one of the best surfaces we go to on the schedule.
We'll go right here to the middle to Bob.
Bob Hockers, ESPN. Christopher, do you know that you're supposed to be struggling at for the last 5 or 6 laps of a green flag run here? And just what was your experience with tire fall off? Because you probably haven't dealt with that too much in the trucks.
Yeah, you're supposed to be struggling, but he was struggling a little bit less than I was. So, and Harvick was struggling way less than what we were. So that's that's that gap that we got to close up on for me to be better and to be on their level. The tire fall off was expected. You know what it's going to be whenever you come to a place like this or Homestead. So I don't know. It's just I got to get a little bit better as a driver to be able to compete with these guys.
We'll go over here to the far right to Darius.
Darius Goodman, Henry Herald. This question's for Joey. What did you learn about the tires and the tire fall off that you can use for tomorrow's race?
They fall off hard. It's fun when you go to these racetracks because there's moments that you can do certain things to create more speed in your car, but it only lasts for a little bit. You can do some things that may pick up 2-3 tenths for 3 laps, but you're going to pay a penalty for 20 laps. So that makes it pretty fun for us. There's a lot of strategy from inside the car of when to go, when to not. The problem was Kevin was able to get out front and get far enough ahead that where he can just start saving his tires, and then when he needed to go, he could go. So he had a quick enough car and did a good enough job to get himself out there and then go into cruise mode and make sure he had enough tire to last on the long run. And that's where he really starts destroying cars most of the time, is on that long run.
Additional questions for Joey or Christopher? Well, gentlemen, congratulations on solid runs today. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Continuing with our post-race driver media availabilities, we're joined now by our 4th place finisher, driver of the number 42 Fire Alarm Services Chevrolet, John Hunter Nemechek. John Hunter, not the race win, but still a pretty dang good debut race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for you.
Yeah, I'm happy with the outcome that we had, finishing fourth there. My goal was to come here, run all the laps, learn as much as I could, and hopefully bring home a top 5 run. After we unloaded yesterday, my first ever lap in an Xfinity car was lap 1 of practice yesterday. So I definitely have learned a lot through both practice sessions, qualifying, and the race. There was a couple instances in the first segment, got turned sideways a couple times by some of the veterans. I guess I'm learning my place or something. But overall, a really good day. Blew a right front at the end of the first segment, or a right front came apart. It seemed like tire wear was really big today. And we were a victim of circumstances. Luckily, we were able to get the lucky dog, get back on the lead lap and rebound from the back to come back to the front. And then after that last pit stop, we were able to get by Elliott there to bring it home fourth. So really happy, thankful for Chip and Fire Alarm Services for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to getting to more races as the year goes on.
Excellent. We'll open it up to questions now for John Hunter. If you raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. Let's go right here first.
Jacob Zillman, Race Chaser Online Performance Motorsports Network. You and I were talking a little bit on pit road, and I know we talked about aero, but the fall off today was something that everybody was battling, and it seemed like some were able to manage it better than others. What did you find managing your car over the course of that last long run? Because it seemed like you were able to come on strong late in the going there at the end.
Listening to Mike Shiplett and Derek Nealon, Derek up on the spotter stand, just telling me to be patient. I feel like myself and Mike Shiplett have created a bond, a very good communicational bond so far this year, and being able to make adjustments on the race car and try and fix what we need to fix to make it faster for the end. And we over adjusted a little bit at the end. I thought we could have been a little bit better, but I'm glad we went the way that we went instead of being on the tight side, because we had right front issues all day. So the aero deal that we were talking about, it's way different than a truck. The Xfinity cars aren't as aero dependent as the trucks are. The trucks tend to just snap if somebody's on your right rear quarter, and these you can actually race side by side. Granted, you still get free, but it's not that snapping motion.
We'll go in the middle to Bob, then we'll come up front to Jessica.
Bob Huckers, ESPN. What did you think about after 30 laps of your debut?
The first 30 laps were very interesting. I have to apologize to Cole Custer and that whole team. I think I got moved out of the way by Harvick off the bottom. He was coming on strong, and then I ran up a little bit and got tagged in the right rear from Elliott Sadler, and it sent me down the track and into Cole's right front, and then it sent him spinning. And then we didn't blow right front until after 30 laps, but the first 30 laps were very eventful. Definitely a handful of a race car is what we had that first segment. So hopefully we can go back, look at notes, and I'm going to put some stuff in my memory bank for more racetracks that we go to.
We'll stay right up here in the front right to Jessica.
Jessica Ruffin with NASCAR.com. We saw Chip Ganassi and your dad come up to you after the race. What did they say to you, and what did it mean to you to have that support right after your debut?
It means a lot. Chip and his entire staff have been very supportive of myself ever since we got our deal done in November or December. Being able to be at the shop and talk to those guys and have phone calls with them, and it's definitely great to have the support. Dad, he's a longtime mentor. Dad, pretty much everything. He's given me this opportunity, as well as Chip, and Chip came up and just said, "Congrats, you had a hell of a day. You had to work for that one." So definitely had to work for it, but to have that support behind you and to know that they want you to win races. I mean, Chip likes winners, so I think that's our hashtag we're going with this year. So hopefully we can get him a win in the future.
We'll go to the far right over here against the window.
Dana Gould, the Prowler. I know yesterday we talked to you and you were talking about trying to get comfortable in your car. Did you ever find that comfort, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think so. I think as the race went on, I got more and more into a rhythm, being able to run the O-line, how much you lift in these cars, how much brake you use, steering wheel input, how they react around traffic. I've never been in that position before or around other cars until lap 1 today of the race. So it was definitely a steep learning curve, but we were able to adapt fast and learn on the fly. And I feel comfortable with where we ended. Definitely going to keep building comfort and getting more seat time. Experience can only help.
We're going to go up to the press box. We've got a question from upstairs.
SpencerMotorsport.com. Congratulations, JH. Wondering if the fact that you've had good equipment, you haven't had incredible equipment, has running the equipment that you had over the course of your career helped you compete at this level? I mean, this is a tough track where you got to do a lot of tire management. Did everything that you've learned in your family's equipment really helped you against some of the better funded teams here today?
I mean, it can't hurt. Experience is experience, and with our Nemco Motorsports team, you had to drive almost every lap like it was the last to run up front and to make sure that we had contending trucks. And I feel like going over to Chip Ganassi Racing, they're an established team. They've won races. It's the same group of guys. It's experienced guys. I definitely think that has helped as well. And just being able to fit the mold, I feel like being able to go there and talk with the guys and create relationships and being able to communicate with one another definitely helps. But I'd say running the truck for Dad definitely has helped me. It's helped me learn a lot. Some things good, some things bad, some things the hard way. But any lap that you're on the racetrack, you're gaining experience, and experience is key. Nothing can outweigh that.
Any additional questions from upstairs? Any more questions down here? We'll go right over here to Jacob.
John Hunter, was this kind of a performance in your debut today? Was it everything you could have hoped for, or was it more than perhaps you were hoping for, given all the adversity that you overcame?
Well, I had an open mindset coming into this weekend. I didn't know what to expect, didn't know where we were going to stack up in practice, didn't know where we were going to stack up in qualifying, and didn't know where we were going to stack up in the race. My goal this weekend was to learn as much as I could and to try and run up front if our car was capable or if I was capable. It was a definitely good learning curve, being able to hop in the Xfinity car yesterday and be fast right off the bat, be fast in qualifying and be fast in the race, I feel like. So it's definitely more than I had expected coming into this weekend. After practice yesterday and after qualifying, I thought we were going to have a shot to run top 3 or even try and contend for the win. So it's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. It's a great opportunity, great debut in my opinion. So bring on some more races.
Any additional questions down here for John Hunter? John Hunter, congratulations on a great debut.
Thank you.
We're now joined by the winner of the Renai 250, Kevin Harvick, driver of the number 98 Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford for Biaggi Denbesti Racing. Kevin, you dominated that entire race for the most part, and you've dominated here in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about doing so?
Well, I've been fortunate to be with really good teams, and as I've gone through the years, this is a racetrack that hasn't changed a whole lot, and just fortunate to have things that work and know the feel that I'm looking for, and the times when everything goes smooth and we don't have some crazy scenario or something happen. We've been fortunate to have some success. So they did a great job. I mean, it was just one of those days that you look back on and go, whoa, that was a lot of fun to be a part of. From the driving the car to pit road, and everybody that puts the effort in. I mean, this is not something that these guys have to do or Stewart Haas Racing has to do, and it's strictly to go on the racetrack and win races. And I felt bad that we didn't do that last year, but this is a great way to start it off this year. And we're 1 year into it, and Cole won the last race, and we won this one, and so we're doing good.
Awesome. And up here with Kevin, we have a few folks. We've got crew chief Richard Boswell and owners Fred Biaggi and Bill Dembesti. So just wanted to let you guys know who's up here. We don't have those name cards. If you have any questions, please raise your hand and we'll get over to you. Jacob.
Jacob Seelman, Race Chaser Online and Performance Motorsports Network. Actually, for Fred, you've been a part of a few wins in this series before, but this is the first win on a non-restrictor plate track. First off, talk about how special it is to have your involvement still with Kevin and with SHR in this 98 program, and then what it means to have a day like this be a race victory for you.
Well, I guess it's a dream come true. You know, the mile-and-a-half tracks, we've not been good in it in the past. And with Kevin and Richard and the whole Stewart-Haas organization, I think we have a chance now to be very competitive. As you could tell by today, we're really competitive. And it's, when it gets down to it, I think it's all about the people. We've got great people, from the guys that pit the car to all the guys in the shop. And it just goes from the top to the bottom. And then Kevin really knows how to drive a race car. So.
Anyone else? Yep, right over there on the right.
Yeah, Dominic Ottagon with the RacingExperts.com and ESPN Albuquerque. For Kevin, one of 5 drivers to pull double duty this weekend. What are some of the biggest lessons this win gives you for tomorrow's race?
Yeah, well, this is a rhythm racetrack, and you know, I like to race, and when you can race at a racetrack, obviously, you know, we've done well, you know, for a number of years here, and I think when you can race at a racetrack that not only you like, but is also very important from a rhythm standpoint, and you know, you can go out and do that time after time, lap after lap. It just, I feel like I get more consistent every lap, and I think as the race went on today, I felt like, you know, I could do things with my car that I couldn't when I started practice, just by, you know, a visual standpoint from where the cracks and bumps and everything are in the racetrack to, you know, to try to position the car. So it's just it's better than sitting in the bus. I don't like to sit around, and you know, usually when I'm at home, I've got a 5-year-old that's punching me in the stomach or kicking me in the leg, or you know, wanting to go out and play ball. So we're used to being active, and then I come to the racetrack. If I don't have something to do on Saturday, I get a little stir crazy. So I'd rather be racing.
Christian Coley, FrontStretch.com, and the Motorsports News Source. Kevin, Austin Cindric said after the race today that he said he had no idea how you guys do it on Sunday. He says he ran half of that race, and he says he is worn out. Tell us how, you know, you've come from the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series and ultimately to the Cup Series, how much you've had to kind of learn your body and try to get where you're physically fit to do this.
Well, it's different, and you know, the first thing that you learn is you can't let the guys take advantage of you in the race car from an aero standpoint, and you know, make you feel like a wimp for putting air conditioners and putting heel booties, and so you know, I think as you go through time, you learn those preparations, and you speak up when you know things don't feel right, and you know, I think as you look at the length of the races, as you go through the divisions, they definitely get longer, but you know, these cars are hot, and today was a warm day, but it's definitely not easy, but you learn what you like, and you know, make sure that you get the car comfortable and know you know, when something's wrong, and to speak up, because if you don't say something, it's going to be a long day.
Are there any? Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I thought it was interesting because I was talking to a lot of the young drivers who were just coming in, and one of them said he thought he was doing pretty good, and then you blew by him in practice, and it kind of was like devastating because he realized how good you guys are. When you first came in and you had the big guys blowing by you in practice, and maybe you're on a smaller team, I don't know if you remember that far back, how did you kind of overcome that part of it?
Yeah, well, when I started, it was my first test, you know, was for RCR in 2000, and they used to put the Cup cars and the Xfinity cars on the track together, and I remember pulling onto the racetrack for my, you know, one of my first tests, and went down the backstretch, and Jeff Gordon blew by me, and I was like, damn, that was pretty cool. I'm on the same racetrack as Jeff Gordon, and he just blew my doors off down the back straightaway. So it's, you know, experience goes a long ways in this sport, and you know, for me, it's fun to talk to those young guys, and you know, I think you know, for me, with Chase Briscoe this week, and you look at Cole, and these guys they want to know, and they want information, and they process it well, and they understand and they listen, and so that's fun. And I think as you look at the race team, Stewart Haas Racing has let me be very involved, and I like to talk about racing and talk about people and things that are happening, and I've been fortunate for them to let me be involved in some things, but when you look at the Xfinity program, I feel like we help in certain ways, but those guys on the 00, I mean, they were really the guys, and everybody in the shop, they're really the guys that push this stuff every week, and Cole has done a really good job of giving feedback and talking about things, and the progression that those guys had as a team is really what's, in my opinion, taken the team to the next level, because the progression has been so good from the feedback and the crew chief and everything that they've done, and we've built on that through the year. And sure, we run races and do things and talk about things and what we need to do different, but really that progression of the full-time team is what has led to where the cars are today.
We'll go right down here to Jessica.
Jessica Ruffin with NASCAR.com. You've had some success here, both in Cup and Xfinity. Being that the tire fall off is so important here, how do you preserve your equipment as you continue in your run, and how does experience play in your favor at a track like this?
Yeah, I think experience is definitely a big factor here, and for me, it's all about trying to keep the car straight. You see so many of them bobbing and weaving and missing the line and up the racetrack, and you have to be patient. This is a racetrack where you have to be patient, but it reminds me a lot of how I grew up on a little racetrack on the west coast in Bakersfield, California, Mesa Marin. It was a very similar type line and things that you did with the race car to make it go around the racetrack fast, and I survived for a number of years on that particular track doing a lot of the same things that I do here. It's at a lot different speed, but it's the same the same basic thought process of how you drive a car. So, when you get to these worn-out racetracks, for me, when there's a situation like this, I grew up on that style of racetrack, so I was fortunate there.
We'll take one last question in the back.
Dana Gould, the Prowler. My question is for the team owners. How does this win today change your plans for the rest of the season?
I don't think it really does, to be honest with you. I think we've got a good plan. We want to stick to it, and with Kevin's help and the rest of the people, I think we'll deliver a good item, good package. So we're not going to change.
All right. Thank you all. Congratulations and good luck the rest of the season.